Vision Advance. My name is Dale Myers. Today we're going to continue the conversation with a young Dale Myers. If I could go back in time 20 something years ago, what would I tell him? Well, I would tell him about the 20-80 rule, or the 80-20 rule as some call it. The bottom line of it is 20% of your efforts will get you 80% of your desired results. This has been proven time and time again. The most effective leaders and entrepreneurs live by this principle. There is not ever going to be enough time in the day for you to get everything done that you would like to get done. The most successful people, they identify the critical 20%. What's the 20% of things that I can do that will drive everything else? I remember going back my previous example in yesterday's video, I talked about when we launched a record company back in college, and we did it. The business lasted for about 12 to 15 years, and I remember going through different time management systems, and most of them were telling me list out all the things you need to do and all that other stuff, and I did that. But I always ended up with a huge list. And it wasn't until maybe about a year and a half ago, I ran across a Brian Tracy video. This guy is, I think, one of the best. He's beyond motivation. He gives practical insight, kind of like what I'm trying to do here. And the thing is, the most effective leaders, they find the critical 20%. What can I do that will drive everything else? So I remember literally thinking about all the things that had to be done to promote a music project. And I understood the sequence, because again, it's not just what needs to be done, it's the sequence of things. Certain things need to happen at certain times in order to make a record peak in terms of getting the right amount of interest to get the clubs excited and then get the radio on board. And it was never enough time when you're literally trying to, anyway, just so many things to do. And I was often overwhelmed. Truthfully, that continued up until, probably up until about 2 years ago. And now it's really that simple. Once you know what your goals are, list all the things that you want to do, but then ask yourself, if I could only do one thing out of all these activities, what one thing would give me the most bang for my buck, would drive the results of everything else, and do that thing and that thing only. Now, I also like to start my day with that. So I call it first focus. I like to get my day going. I like to focus early in the day on some huge task. I don't wake up in the morning checking social media. I don't check my cell phone message. I don't check email. I check my list of goals for today. I kind of make them out the night before, but I start off the next day with them. And then I say, well, I have all these things I want to do. What's the most important? And I immediately begin working on that one right then and there. What this does for you is, let's say that around lunchtime things snowball as they tend to happen. Like, I have young kids too, so we homeschool, we run a business. My wife has her own business. It's a lot going on, and things happen throughout the day. I mean, come on, you guys have kids, but by starting your day off right, focusing on the most critical aspect of your business early in the day, no matter what happens later on, you build up some sincere positive momentum that you can ride from one day to the next. So at the end of that day, when you look back and reflect on what went well, what went wrong, you automatically have some win. So that's what I would go back and tell the young Dale Myers, that sure, you got a long list. You can't do it all. Identify the top 10 things on your list. Then out of the top 10, what's the one most important? Do that one thing. Once that one is complete, now, after this one is done, what is the next most important thing? Work your way up that chain. with the understanding you still have to keep in mind sequence and timing. But that little insight, along with, again, now this is in the context of having clearly defined goals that, so you've gone through a goal setting process so that you have identified the correct problem to work on. But just that eliminates so much of the clutter from your life and from your head, and you can think freely. You're not feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling rejuvenated, refreshed. You can be more present for your loved ones, for your kids, your wife, your friends, because you're not stressed. Entrepreneurship can be a stressful thing. Now, again, this is true for leaders. Those of you that you're a parent, same kind of thing. What's the most important thing you have to do that day? You're not going to get them all done. You're a manager at a corporation. It is the same principle. Again, this is called the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule or the 20-80 rule. We'll do another video where we'll slightly distinguish between those two. But 20% of your efforts will get you 80% of the results you want. So how do you get to 100%? Well, in most cases, you don't need 100%. Remember, perfection is not required. Excellence is, particularly in business entrepreneurs. Don't try to put out a perfect product. Get that thing very good, solve the problem that your customers need to be solved. And that only happens once you've been out talking to your customers. So focus on that 20%. And that will, again, just free your mind up and you'll feel much more accomplished. So when you look back at the end of the week, you got all these different things accomplished and you feel empowered, man. Because entrepreneurship is a tough road. Being a leader is a tough road with ups and downs. This is just one little tidbit that is now helping me to make me ultra productive, helping me expand my business. And over the next couple of years, this year I'll make more money than I ever have in my life. Next year, again, I have some aggressive goals just because I'm bettering myself. I'm serving more people, and I do expect my income to increase because of that. So take that little bit, work on that, work on you. What are the top 10 things you need to do today? You can expand and say, what are the top 10 things for the week, top 10 things for the month? But then it all comes back to the same principle. If you could only do one of those things, which one would have the biggest effect on your overall output, your progress? Focus on that one and that one alone. Multitasking is overrated. Sure, we have to multitask sometimes, but all success is completing tasks. It's not that I worked on 30 different things today and none of them got done. Figure out what's the most important to get done. Finish that one. You'll thank me later. Again, I'll include a link to yesterday's video because I think some of these tidbits are kind of very good. And if you didn't watch it, it's something you need to hear. And if you like what you heard, please thumbs up my video, subscribe, please share it with a friend. If you know someone that's trying to launch a business, or if you know someone that's constantly, their life is filled with clutter, they're always stressed, they never have, they can never seem to get everything done. I'm not telling you this is not a way to get everything done, but this is a way to move your life forward to get the most important things done with certainty. I'm Dale Myers with Vision Advance. Thank you, and you have a great evening.